Mudavadi's decision to ditch the Orange Party in May this year was preceded by many ifs, with some political observers who termed him a loyal second-in-command for Prime Minister Raila Odinga, doubting his ability and courage to make such a move.
Gear ya reverse imevunjika. Hakuna gear ya reverse kwa gari yangu sasa. Brake imekatika. Sasa ni kuenda mbele mpaka mwisho.
The Orange team even taunted him, terming his departure inconsequential.
Usifikiri ati Musalia ameenda mbali. Ako karibu tu pale anapata matibabu. Ataenda wapi? Hakuna mahali ataenda. Anarudi tu na sisi tuseme milango ni wazi. Sivyo?
3 months later, the Sabatia lawmaker has been on the campaign trail. His energetic campaigns may have confounded those who doubted his seriousness.
The race for this election will be between two people. It will be between Musalia Mudavadi and Raila Odinga. Period. Everything else and everybody else running in this election, in my view, is just a pawn. And the candidature of Musalia is serious, purely on account of the people who will regiment behind him against Raila Odinga.
Though according to recent opinion poll outcomes, Prime Minister Raila Odinga and his deputy Uhuru Kenyatta have remained perched top on the list of popular presidential aspirants, Mudavadi's popularity has also grown.
Katika ulimwengu hii, one of the greatest football players is called Pele. But Pele is no longer the best player. He was the best player, but he's no longer the best player. Kwa sababu Messi ameingia.
So Musalia is actually an anti-Odinga candidate, in the same way that Raila himself was the anti-Kibaki candidate in 2007, in the same way that Kibaki was the anti-Moi candidate in the 2002 election.
Mudavadi has been seen as a likely beneficiary of a political boardroom deal involving the other presidential hopefuls in the G7 alliance. But can Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta, Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, Eldoret North MP William Ruto and his Sabatia counterpart Eugene Wamalwa agree to shelve their presidential ambitions and support Mudavadi?
Presidents are normally made, and they're made in boardrooms. So Musalia Mudavadi, and I've said this in the past, will not become president. He will be made president. And he'll be made president by interests that will converge in a boardroom somewhere and say, this is the man we want for president. And then he'll be presented to the people for endorsement.
And should the G7 presidential hopefuls resolve to support Mudavadi's bid, how easy would it be to sell him across the country? And would their support automatically translate into transfer of political support in their respective strongholds?
People always look for a person who is agreeable. In the case of Mudavadi, the feeling is that this guy, generally if you go anywhere, they say Mudavadi is good because Mudavadi is not bad.
Even before casting his net wider, Mudavadi has to contend with the scramble for the Western Kenya vote. Other than Prime Minister Raila Odinga, 3 more presidential hopefuls, Justice Minister Eugene Wamalwa, Trade Minister Moses Wetangula and Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo, are all eyeing the Western Kenya vote.
Mudavadi will be a Kalenjin and a Kikuyu candidate. These are the two communities that will make him king. And then the Luyas will have absolutely no choice. The last few weeks of the election, they realize, hey, our man is becoming president, and they will follow if it gets to that particular point.
Mudavadi has already been labelled a Kibaki project. He has on several occasions represented the president at key state functions.
Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, uhutubie taifa letu.
And his role during the Madaraka Day celebrations triggered political interest.
A project is a bad thing if it is not about you, if it's about somebody else. But a project in and of itself is nothing wrong with it. But it can be used against Mudavadi if he is unable to turn it around. He must not deny also that it's Kibaki's project. In fact, that is very good for him in central Kenya.
The Deputy Prime Minister in his campaigns has projected an image of a non-aggressive and accommodating candidate who can insulate the country from a divisive presidential contest.
If he looks like Moi or Kibaki, in the sense that he's a nice person, we don't know what hides behind that veil. Is it possible that he could be a Moi whom we never knew and whom we say, this guy is very good, but once he gets into power, he changes? That becomes a possible disadvantage for him.
With just about 6 months to the general election, the race to succeed President Mwai Kibaki has all the indications of the most complex electoral exercise in Kenya's history. Francis Gachuri for the Kibaki Succession Series.